Again, twice a day training sessions here at the Aspire Academy. Bayern Munich have been coming here for several years, and they know why. The hotel just located next to the pitches. The team stays together for a couple of days. We're going to have at least 9 full team training sessions. This is already the 4th training session since the team arrived 2 days ago. And apart from these full team training sessions, the physical therapists, the coaching staff, the medical staff have fantastic opportunities and facilities here to work with injured players, work with players to improve their fitness and slowly but surely reintegrate players who were recently injured. If you look at the squad, you'll see some of those. Juan Bernat, for instance, Douglas Costa, who were injured towards the end of 2015, are back in the squad. We have, of course, a couple of injured players still working individually. David Alaba, as we found out from sports director Matthias Sammer yesterday, is the man who's closest to celebrating his comeback in full team training. There's a chance that he might actually conduct a full team training session here at the Aspire Academy during this week. If not, it's really only a matter of days before he can return to full team training once we return to Munich. Arjen Robben also conducting quite strenuous, quite hard individual training, cycling or running at least twice a day with his usual motivation and diligence, and also confirmed by Matthias Sammer yesterday the situation regarding Franck Ribéry and Mehdi Benatia, who are also capable and able to work on their fitness. Again, all of this here at this beautiful Aspire Academy, which offers these great facilities. Situation at Bayern is clear. Germany has a traditional Bundesliga winter break, which commences just before Christmas. First competitive game for Bayern Munich will be on January 22nd in Hamburg. Bayern Munich are 8 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga table, in a very comfortable situation there. But the press conference with Matthias Sammer yesterday illustrated quite clearly what Bayern Munich's goal is: not only to work on peak physical condition, but to also prepare well mentally. Sammer said, if you only lack in concentration by 1% or 2%, that can already be of catastrophic consequences, and that's why many at Bayern Munich, including fans and a lot of football experts in Germany too, welcome the fact that the Munich Reds have a very tough task, many tough tasks and challenges ahead in the next couple of weeks. Of the first 10 competitive games in 2016, 7 will be away from home. Those include really tough Bundesliga games in Leverkusen, in Wolfsburg and in Dortmund. And then of course the Champions League knockout round 1, the round of 16 against Juventus Turin. It takes place first towards the end of February, 23rd of February, away from home, and then the home game on March 16th. The fact that Bayern Munich have so many difficult challenges ahead, again, was welcomed by Pep Guardiola and the entire squad, so that the team can concentrate fully. The good news after half of the winter break is now over, and after a few days of this training camp have gone past, is that we haven't seen any health or fitness problems with any of the players. On the contrary, you're watching here a fairly light warm-up session, but rest assured that it's not all skipping and jogging for the Bayern players. We've seen some really grueling training sessions so far. Usually at the 10 o'clock in the morning session, Bayern Munich conduct physical exercises in this weather, and in the evening Pep Guardiola in the non-public training sessions uses the opportunity to, of course, train physically on the one hand, but on the other hand also to practice some of the tactical variations that Bayern Munich are feared for. Today we're actually fortunate enough to witness a full team training session. In the past few days, Bayern Munich's players have usually warmed up for quite a while in the gym before they came out to conduct their training sessions. So today they're all out on the pitch, and as you can see, goalkeepers are also training. Manuel Neuer, who's in the running to become the world's best goalkeeper for the third time in succession, practicing here with Toni Tapalovic, Tom Starke, and also a very young man indeed, Christian Früchtl, a 15-year-old goalkeeper who the Bayern squad decided to take along here to Qatar. 15 years old, but a meter 90 tall already. Amazing physical constitution, and also a very bright, down-to-earth young man who, according to Matthias Sammer, is in no danger whatsoever of taking this the wrong way. Fantastic experience for him, of course, to learn from the best, to learn from Manuel Neuer. On your screen, Thomas Müller, Arturo Vidal, Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski. Müller, of course, as you know, just extended his contract at Bayern Munich. He's the number one boy really here, along with some others, top of Bayern Munich's hierarchy, together with Manuel Neuer, Philipp Lahm, and to a certain degree, of course, also Jerome Boateng. But if you look at the faces here, and the Bayern fans know this, of course, so many players in this squad, not only of fantastic skill and talent, but also players who are capable of taking responsibility. Javi Martinez, Arturo Vidal, then of course Xabi Alonso. 5 youth players have joined the Bayern squad here. Niklas Dorsch, Marco Friedl, the aforementioned Christian Früchtl, Fabian Benko and Milos Pantovic. Also Julian Green, here part of the squad, who's officially a professional but has spent time in the last months playing for the reserve team. They give a welcome, young, motivated, fresh input to this squad, and of course also help fill the numbers for tactical exercises. Pep Guardiola in a good mood. I was able to talk to him briefly yesterday, and he said he's very happy with the training camp so far, with the team's performance so far. There's a lot of journalists from Germany who have traveled with the team, and of course the only questions they're asking is about what effect the announcement of Pep Guardiola's departure in summer has. I was able to talk to players like Thomas Müller and Philipp Lahm, and they all assured me that nothing really that much has changed for Bayern Munich and for the players in particular. For one, the Bayern players are experienced with this situation. You'll recall that Pep Guardiola was already signed or hired as the coach in Jupp Heynckes last half year at Bayern Munich. That didn't work too badly for Bayern Munich, who went on to win the treble in that season. With Carlo Ancelotti, Bayern Munich have already hired the next world-class coach. And so, talking to Philipp Lahm and Thomas Müller, I got the impression that there's a very pragmatic approach to this second half of the season, regardless of Pep Guardiola's future. This team is capable of and determined to go to the limit. And Thomas Müller, I think, was the man who said it best when he said, we want to win this title. Every single one in the squad wants to win the Bundesliga title for the 4th time in succession, which would be a Bundesliga record. Everyone wants to win the DFB Cup after Bayern Munich had such an unlucky time exiting last season. And of course, the Champions League title, even if you cannot plan it, is always a goal for a team like Bayern Munich, even if they'll have a tough challenge ahead in the first knockout round. Warm-up program is over. A couple of minutes now to kick the ball. Let's see if we see some exciting passes here and some good skills, and then the training session I'm sure will pick up in a little bit of speed here as we go along. You're watching some of probably the most skilled players in terms of technical ability here at Bayern Munich. Douglas Costa, who unfortunately missed a few of the last games in 2015. He was just voted by the Bundesliga professionals as being the best Bundesliga player of the first half of the season, and he's showing us his skills here together with Robert Lewandowski and Thiago. Maybe the most fun player to watch if you like players with technical skills and great footwork. Thiago, whose brother's at Barcelona, cousin at Valencia, doesn't make it hard to see where his talent comes from. Fantastic football player who fortunately seems in fantastic health and fitness right now. His spell at Bayern Munich, where he joined in July of 2013, has been marred by injury to a certain extent. What seemed originally fairly harmless knee injury in March of 2013 put him out for nearly a year. Then he returned this season, was injured for a while again, just celebrated his comeback. And if you have been following the Bayern games, you know that this is a man who can really make an impact in Bayern Munich's midfield. The Pep Guardiola statement, Thiago or nothing, already legendary here at Bayern. A few minutes now for the players to pass the ball around, get a bit of a feel for the ball. That's what I'm talking about when I refer to the Thiago skills here. Just so easy. If you've ever had a ball close to a football pitch, you know most of us will be more likely to break our feet trying these exercises and trying to handle the ball in this fashion. Not so the players of Bayern Munich, who I think are slowly but surely getting ready to ditch the balls and start some real work here. Here are three of the real Bayern icons: Thomas Müller, Holger Badstuber, when they're playing along there to the left with Philipp Lahm. Holger Badstuber, you'll recall, already worked hard on his comeback last year here. This was the place where Badstuber basically begun to reintegrate into the Bayern Munich squad. If you've been watching the FCB TV news in the last couple of days, you will have seen a couple of statements from Badstuber. He is really happy and excited to come here. He has said, while of course he did start training with the team here a year ago in the Aspire Academy in Qatar, now he's much fitter and much stronger physically and can really work not only on regaining his fitness but on reintegrating fully into this team. Of course, Badstuber, another one of those players who have suffered quite a few injuries in recent years, but the return of all these players, of Thiago, Costa, Bernat, Badstuber, who of course has been back already, and then Ribéry, Benatia, who are working on their comeback, Arjen Robben and David Alaba, is cause for much optimism here in Qatar, of course, but at Bayern Munich, that the second half of the season will indeed be successful and will be a positive one for the fans. As I mentioned earlier, Bayern Munich 8 points clear ahead of Borussia Dortmund. A little misleading, that statistic. It's not as if Bayern Munich have completely dominated the first half of the season. Dortmund dropped points in the last game before the winter break, which was of course a very, very fortunate event for Bayern Munich, but have shown a strong season, so nothing's decided there. In the DFB Cup, the next date for Bayern Munich, the next competitive game, takes place on February 10th in Bochum. Bayern Munich, of course, clear favourites to win against the underdogs there, and as mentioned earlier, Juventus Turin are the first big obstacle in the Champions League that Bayern Munich have to overcome. Let's have a look at the first exercises here. We're still looking at the goalkeepers and Christian Früchtl, but the Bayern team is getting ready now for the first exercise of the day. As I mentioned earlier, it's extremely hot here today at the Aspire Academy in Qatar. Temperatures, I'd say, around 25, 26 degrees, maybe even a little more in the sun. So we'll see just how hard the coaching team will push the players. So here we go. Pep try and conduct the same exercise, and it's quite fascinating to see all those fantastic football players that of course play for Bayern's reserve team. It's a fourth division team that's trying to achieve promotion to the third division. All young players, but of course all extremely talented football players. And the difference in speed, the difference in skill that you see there is really, truly awe-inspiring, and makes you understand just how good the Bayern players are. And as I mentioned earlier, Pep Guardiola and his coaching staff have proved very happy so far with what's been going on. So here we go. You can see there are several teams here, a blue team, a red team, and a grey team. Let's see if we can figure out what's exactly going on here. The reason why there are three teams, for instance, let's start here, is that, of course, you can't have players sprint across the pitch for the full 90 minutes, otherwise they'll need a week break here. So the players now, for instance, Team Red has a minute or so to relax while Team Grey plays against Team Blue. Now Team Grey has to sprint across the entire pitch, try to get the ball off Team Red. And as soon as they do that, here we go. No, not quite yet. Team Red's still in possession. Now Team Red will have to sprint over to the left side here and try to get the ball off Team Blue. As soon as they do that, Team Blue will be punished and will have to sprint back and try to regain possession again. The green players, don't be confused by them. Those are so-called free agents here on the pitch. They help whoever is in possession. So again, a little bit of a break here for Team Blue as two of the Team Grey players try to get the ball off the red team. Here at Bayern Munich, since Pep Guardiola joined the team, this exercise that everyone knows, 4 or 5 players against 2 in the center, has been called rondo. So this is something like the rondo of the 21st century, a very sophisticated and full team rondo taking place for the Bayern players, who I'm sure will feel this exercise in their legs if this keeps going on for a while.
Against Juve, 5-0. Minimum.
You can probably hear some of the fans call out the player names in the background. It is really a great opportunity here for the fans to come close to these Bayern stars. An opportunity that, of course, fans in Munich enjoy on a regular basis. Somewhere between 1 and 2 public training sessions, usually during a week that is a non-Champions League week, of course. It's part of Bayern Munich's policy to be close to the fans, to be a public club, to not restrict access too much. And again, in case you're missing the really exciting, the in-depth, nitty-gritty tactical exercises, I have to disappoint you. Those exercises are reserved for the non-public training sessions. Pep Guardiola, of course, wants to keep that behind closed doors. What we're going to see is a lot of physical exercises here today. Part 2 of this sprint and fighting for possession exercise about to commence.
امبارح مطلقة كان حلو امبارح بس انه باقي دخلت فيه
So I suppose there's a second element to this exercise. The two teams to the left and the right actually play along with each other here. You can see that as well. It's not probably going to work now. It might work. So the red team holding on to possession, holds on to possession for a while and then tries to chip that ball across the center towards the team which is now blue. Here's a good example, at least the attempt of it. Yep. Good job there. And Team Grey still has to hold on to possession. Finally, Team Grey won it now, which means Team Blue has to go into the center. It's interesting from a fan and also from my point of view here. There's something new every day in these exercises, and that's one of the reasons why Pep Guardiola is so popular with the players here. It's important, and many football coaches, of course, say that nowadays you really need to get the players on board, and football professionals who do nothing but train all their life can, of course, get bored easily when they play the same exercise all the time. Maybe bored is the wrong word to describe it, but they settle in too comfortably in exercises that they know well, which is why you just want to keep a little bit of an edge on these training sessions by presenting them with something new, and Pep Guardiola is certainly a master of that. Yeah, perfect example of how to execute a pass from there, although the stop wasn't very good. But Team Grey is in possession now. Let's see if we can get a good series going here. Team Grey loses the ball. Oh, a little angry with himself. Team Grey now has to return to the center. And I hope you can hear the reaction by the players. There's a lot of shouting going on. There's a lot of competitiveness, of course, in these exercises, and that's exactly what the coaches want. Here's that chip. If you have been following this training camp on our various social media channels, on FTB TV or in the news programs, I'm sure you would have realized this is not an exception. There is a high sense, and of course there has to be a high sense and a high degree of motivation among the players who are really enjoying themselves while working hard. You can see it in the way they move after these training sessions, that they are exhausted and fatigued. And here again, a shot across the entire pitch, and encouraging words. Now Holger Badstuber extremely angry with the fact that his team failed to hold on to possession there, as Team Blue are again punished and in the center. Team Red are going to pass that ball along, and here we go, a little chip over Team Red, and a round of applause by the players. As I mentioned, this is how you keep these superstars on point, on the ball. Some new exercises. I have to admit I haven't seen this one before in the Bayern training, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the first time they've played it this way. Here now, Team Red lost possession, lost the ball. And recovered immediately. Team Blue back into the center. Couple of youth players just now on your screen. Let's go through them again briefly. Niklas Dorsch is here. '17 years old, holding midfielder who plays for the reserve team of Bayern Munich with a professional contract till 2018. Again, Marco Friedl, also 17 years old, a left back who's still playing for the Bayern Munich under 19s without a professional contract. The same, of course, goes for Christian Früchtl, the goalkeeper, who is still a Bayern Munich under 16. Then Fabian Benko is here. He is also 17 years old, professional contract in 2018, and this is a player along with Milos Pantovic, who's here as well, that you might have at least heard of before. Some of you, of course, have heard of all of these players, but with Fabian Benko and Milos Pantovic actually already celebrated their debut for Bayern Munich. Benko at least in the squad against Dynamo Zagreb in the Champions League game, and Milos Pantovic against Werder Bremen. So as you can see here, a lot of local and also Munich fans have made the trip here every morning. The training sessions at the Aspire Academy are public. Facilities are great, very pleasant for the fans, and also the facilities for the Bayern players. You can see there are tents here for the players to have a little bit of a rest and a drink in between exercises. The next one's coming up now. Philipp Lahm, as always, really going ahead there. The Bayern captain knows the drill, of course. A man who's seldomly injured, and quite a symbolic picture here. The team leader leading the team to the first exercise, Lewandowski, and Thomas Müller behind him, and also Joshua Kimmich, a man whom a lot of people believe has an interesting future ahead. If you've been watching the 2015-2016 season so far, you'll probably agree that this young man has some very, very promising options and prospects, filling in usually in that holding midfield role for Xabi Alonso. And what's most impressive, I always think, is that despite his young age, he fills that role with what seems to be a great deal of experience, a great deal of level-headedness, hardly any mistakes. So we have Andreas Kollmeier, one of the fitness coaches, or head fitness coach, really explaining how this exercise works. I'll just let you enjoy the exercise, and fortunately for the fans here and also for the fans watching, I can see that the goalkeepers are also getting ready and getting into position, which means we'll have a few exercises. We'll actually see shots on goal, and I'm fairly certain a few decent goals as well. So sit back and enjoy in the comfort of your house the Bayern players sweating in nearly 30 degrees Celsius heat here at the Aspire Academy in Qatar. Let's see what the coaching staff has in store. Quite a bit of explaining going on here, and that's the same every day. Every once in a while you see some hiccups and some snafus as the players conduct these exercises for the first time, but that just comes with the program. Players need to get exercises that they're interested in, need to be motivated, need to be concentrated. That's also a very important part of why Pep Guardiola tends to change these exercises around quite a bit. It's not all about just having the players motivated, having them enjoy themselves, having them experience fun here on the pitch, but also keep them focused, keep them very, very concentrated on what they're actually supposed to do here. And if they do so, then the outcome will be a better one.
I have to call him back for the German team. I work in Qatar. Once I hear that I love this team more than anything in the world. I support them since I was 5 years old. When I started to understand what is football, I was a fan of Bayern. German as well. Oh! No, I did not. I'm settled in Palestine. I work here in Qatar. Every year when they come here, I come to see them. I take some photos and autographs. I did not go yet, but I will. It will be with the next. I will go there. You know, I don't have vacations in Europe. Once I get it, I will go.
This, generally speaking, is another typical Bayern training session. Again, very generally speaking, 3 exercises conducted at the same time, which means the Bayern players, the first exercise you saw, it's all about sprint stability, strengthening exercises as they run back and forth, quick sprints, and then a shot on goal. Then immediately over to this attacking exercise you're watching right now, with players defending and attacking at the same time, and then later on they'll go on to the third exercise, which involves some more passing and an actual shot on goal. In Germany, that was traditionally what's called a circular training, because you basically walk in circles and go from one exercise to the next. And it's another good example of how the coaches try to keep the players on ball, to keep them concentrated and motivated, and to just mix it up a little bit. Every Bayern player you talk to says while these training sessions are hard, and fun is certainly not the right word to describe it, it is still something they enjoy.
Good luck, man. Leo.
Robert Lewandowski, 24 season games so far in all competitions. 23 goals scored, 15 in the Bundesliga, 1 in the DFB Cup, 7 in 6 Champions League games. Just absolutely amazing. And well, followed by Thomas Müller, who scored 20 goals in 24 games, 13 in the Bundesliga, 2 in the DFB Cup, 5 in the Champions League, 14 in fact in the Bundesliga. Fantastic statistics for Bayern Munich's striking team there, even if Müller isn't really a striker on paper, at least not all the time in Bayern Munich's system.
I came from Palestine to take this photo.
But again, Matthias Sammer, with the first official press conference yesterday, commented on Thomas Müller, saying that it is just amazing. Madness was a term he used to describe how he feels about Thomas Müller's development just in the last couple of weeks and months, really, after the departure of one of the real figureheads at Bayern Munich, Bastian Schweinsteiger. Müller was of course intended to take over that role and to just be a little more involved overall in what Bayern Munich stand for, to be a part of this Bayern image, to represent Bayern Munich, and of course most importantly still play well. And well, he's done just such an amazing job, particularly in this first half of the season. Interesting really to see how this very down-to-earth human being, who really always has something funny to say, a little bit of irony and sarcasm in most of his comments, and still absolutely serious when it's about his profession, and no joking and laughing around there at all. Douglas Costa, as I mentioned, injured recently, missed the last couple of games of 2015, but what an impact the former player of Shakhtar Donetsk has made at Bayern Munich and in the Bundesliga. I mentioned it earlier, voted just a few days ago by the Bundesliga professionals, a vote and an award that players of course appreciate, maybe most of all, voted by the Bundesliga players as the best Bundesliga player of the first half of the 2015-2016 season. And it is really and truly amazing how he burst onto the scene. With Kingsley Coman and Douglas Costa, Bayern Munich reacted to the injuries of Robben and Ribéry in the last season. Fortunately they did, because of course Robben and Ribéry have still been injured quite a bit this season. And Kingsley Coman, of course, already made a good impact, quite a few assists for Bayern Munich, good performances in the Bundesliga and the Champions League. But Costa just stole the show on his left wing most of the time and did an absolutely remarkable job. Here is young Kingsley Coman on loan from Juventus Turin. Funny little story there, really, if you think about it, that with Kingsley Coman and Arturo Vidal, two players came to Bayern Munich just before this season from Juventus Turin, made such an impact that should certainly help when it goes into the Champions League round of 16 knockout duels with these two players. And what a beautiful little chip there by Kingsley Coman. You can hear the crowd reaction. time for a little break, obviously, there. Again, it is extremely hot. I would say it's nearing about 30 degrees in Celsius, that is, of course, in the sun here at the Aspire Academy. Pep Guardiola won't mind. It's all part of this mid-season preparation to push the players to their physical limits. Again, in the afternoon, usually the exercise is not quite as grueling, in part because of the much more pleasant temperatures, and also because there are more tactical exercises which involve the whole team. As a football player, one knows that, of course, this means that there's always time to take a little bit of a break to escape the immediate exercise and physicality of an exercise. Not today. I think we're just about to start round 2. The bit of a Spanish-speaking group here, with the exception of Boateng and Rode joining us down here. Rafinha, Arturo Vidal, Xabi Alonso, and Javi Martinez going to conduct this exercise now, much to the delight of the couple hundred fans that have come here today.
What in goal score in your game? I know. Toti, how are you?
مشروب بالتنفق
Letzte Aktion ist immer gelbe Stange, egal ob rechts oder links. Pass, ja, Pass 1 gegen 1. Kein Doppelpass. Ball mitnehmen, 1 gegen 1. Okay? Okay, komm. Tak, 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 tak. Bleibt in der Zone drin. So, stay there. Gut, gut, gut. Bisschen, Jungs, die Aktion ein bisschen länger. Tak, nach vorne, ein bisschen zur Seite.
On your screen, Jerome Boateng, as I mentioned earlier, one of the figureheads, the key players at Bayern Munich. He said himself, the World Cup final, probably one of the best performances of his career. It came at a good moment in time. Here is Thiago conducting the same exercise. Maybe we can have a look and see what Thiago does here. He'll have a shot on goal. Let's see if Thiago can do it. Yep, no problem there for the Spanish midfielder. Here is now Milos Pantovic conducting this exercise, one of the youth players up against Christian Furchtl. And as you can see, no problem there either. Pantovic, scorer for the reserve team at Bayern Munich. Always fascinating to see how these youth players, and we're now watching not a youth player but one man who has more experience really than any other. Fascinating to see how these youth players can integrate so smoothly here into the training group. Gives you an idea of just how skilled the players are. Javi Martinez, fortunately, free of injury now for quite a while. Extremely popular within the team, as is this man, Rafinha, Just a absolutely reliable workhorse with no professional or diva-esque attitudes at all. Always prepared to do what's necessary and what's best for the team. Christian Früchtl in goal. You could argue not looking too good here, but if you have a look now at Arturo Vidal rolling his way, he's not too far away when he gets the ball, and fantastic chip there by Vidal. Another one of those players who made quite an impact this season, or quite a lot of an impact really. One of the secrets of Bayern Munich's success is this two-pillar system that has become so famous. On the one hand, to try to integrate young players, youth players, starting with Lahm and Schweinsteiger a couple of years back, then Müller, then Alaba. Joshua Kimmich is now one of these young talents. And again, no coincidence that 5 youth players have joined Bayern in this training camp. And on the other hand, Bayern Munich, of course, want to buy players that help immediately, that are star players. Thiago is one of them. Arturo Vidal is certainly one of them. Douglas Costa. But it is testament to the quality within the club, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch. Just how much of an impact all these new signings have made, in particular this year. Really, every one of them an immediate help to the Bayern squad, which explains the extremely satisfactory first half of the season. When I'm looking at how this training session and this training camp so far has been playing out, I have to say it's hard to see Bayern Munich drop in performance. Beautiful goal just now by Xabi Alonso, the man not really responsible for the scoring bit. Good save there by Manuel Neuer. 3 against 3. If you will, a little bit of a tactical exercise here where the players can practice how to attack, or 3 against 2 in this situation. Lahm and Rafinha defending against Kimmich, Rode and Pantovic, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, Marco Friedl was the youth player involved in this group. Let's see, and now Rode and Kimmich defending against Niklas Dorsch, Thiago and Douglas Costa. Douglas Costa, good pass across there. This is Thiago. Easily past his man there, just beautiful footwork. Thiago, I think always, most Bayern, all Bayern fans will agree, always fun to watch. Awesome in the real sense of the word, but particularly in the last weeks and months, he's added some real efficiencies and finishing. Few assists to his game at Bayern Munich. something that we of course all know he's absolutely capable of, and that makes him certainly one of the most interesting and best midfield players in the Bundesliga. Next little break here. Again, keep in mind when you see these exercises, it is really, really hot here in Qatar. We've already had nearly an hour of training here in these temperatures.
Otherwise, you'll find him in Real Madrid. Pep, come, it's the last photo, come. England is very cold. Lam, give us a photo, man. Just look here.
Last year, Nico and Robert Kovac, former Bayern players, were here. We, every once in a while, have some celebrities visiting us, and most of you will know who this young man in the black t-shirt is. Boris Becker, German tennis icon, has decided obviously to visit the Bayern Munich training camp, signing in between Andreas Jung and Matthias Sammer. Becker is an avid Bayern fan, has been for a while, visits a lot of home games.
Not getting lunch.
And of course, a big tennis tournament taking place here in Qatar at the time, which is certainly part of the reason why he's here today. Here's another Bayern icon, Hermann Gerland. Short break for the players. It's over already. Round 3 of this exercise commences now.
In Germany. Lam. You left so early. Liga is the only one who will give for photo here. 5 goals in 9 minutes. 8 minutes, 50 seconds. Sorry. Thank you for coming. Costa, don't leave us, huh? You have no good food in Spain. No. Say whatever you can to make it stay. He's from Brazil. Spain, Brazil, the same food. You have to try something new.
So Douglas Costa just conducted this exercise. Now we have Fabian Benko. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the young Bayern players who's made it into the squad. That was against Dynamo Zagreb earlier this, well, in the last year, of course, earlier this season. 17-year-old with a professional contract to 2018. One of the hopeful young men to follow in the footsteps of, who knows, maybe Costa at some point, even if Fabian Benko is a holding midfielder, not a winger. Bayern trying as hard as ever to have a good mixture here on the pitch of young and more experienced players. Here is Fabian Benko in possession now, attacking with Julian Green and Niklas Dorsch. Nice little move there by him, and a great move past Manuel Neuer. Gives you just a bit of a, sorry, this is now, the goalkeepers have changed as well, past Christian Früchtel. Gives you another little bit of a glimpse of just how talented these players are. Alonso, Dorsch and Badstuber now attacking. Badstuber up against Thiago Costa. Well played there. Dorsch has to try and get a shot on goal, does so, but misses the target. Now it's Pantovic, Koeman here, and Javi Martinez on the right with this attack that doesn't work. Pep Guardiola just appeared on your screen here, as actively involved as ever. Although I will say the evening sessions, nice shot there, the evening sessions see a far more animated Pep Guardiola as he explains tactics and shuffles people around the pitch, switching positions from A to B. Thomas Müller waiting there for an opportunity to pass the ball to Arturo Vidal. Here it is, and Vidal takes that shot and scores. Guardiola always encouraging, particularly of course the young players. Sebastian Rode, next goal. The attacking teams clearly in the advantage here. The 3 against 2, but that's the point of this exercise. Julian Green let through a little too easily. Still not over. Green finally scores. Interesting career for Green so far, who joined Bayern Munich in 2009 and celebrated his debut for Bayern Munich in the Champions League in November 2013. Then went on loan to Hamburg in the 2014-2015 season before he rejoined Bayern Munich. Most famous, of course, particularly in the English-speaking world, for his goal for the USA in the World Cup 2014 against Belgium in injury time. A bit too late there, but certainly made a name for himself there. In his international career, which is also quite interesting. He played for the Germany under-16s and under-17s. Then, obviously a little indecisive there what to do. Joined the US under-18s before returning to play for the German under-19s, and then finally went back again to the US full team, for which he can only play now in future. Here we have Javi Martinez again with Niklas Dorsch on the left, and Kingsley Coman has to take that shot now and scores. Now Philipp Lahm initiates. And easy scoring there for Rafinha. I think you can see it in the close-ups that we have every once in a while of the players. Again, they're all sharp, on point, very involved, enjoying themselves, liking these exercises. But if you look at their faces, you can see it is taking its toll. It's pretty gruesome to keep at it this way, and of course keep in mind this is not a one-off training session. This is one of at least 9 full team training sessions within 5 days at the Aspire Academy in Qatar. The players will certainly return fit and well prepared as we go into the next break here. Matthias Sammer, by the way, commented on the fact that Bayern Munich have a shorter stay than usual, and this week is basically really only 1 week and 5 full days of training. In the last couple of years, Bayern intended to stay a little longer, 2 or 3 days longer, and he laughed when he said, well, we always return fit and healthy from Qatar in very good physical shape, and then we always lost the first competitive game or two, so we decided this time, okay, let's take this physical training on board. Let's enjoy this and cherish the fact that we can prepare so well physically at the same time. Let's return to Munich and to the cold winter temperatures a day or two earlier, so that maybe the players can get used to those temperatures a little sooner, a little better, and then not lose the first competitive game of 2016 in this case immediately. We'll see how that pans out. One friendly game, an away game against Karlsruhe for Bayern Munich on the schedule so far in January, before, as I mentioned earlier, the competitive season starts on January 22nd against Hamburg, in Hamburg that is, and then within a few weeks 10 competitive games, 7 of which take place away from home, including, of course, Juventus Turin, including the DFB Cup knockout round in Bochum, and also tough challenges in the Bundesliga against Leverkusen, Wolfsburg, and Borussia Dortmund.
Arturo, una fotito ahí. Arturo.